KOSP, Brookline, Springfield. It's time for the starting lineup with Scott Purdy, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One. Always the sure bet.
And a good morning to you all, and welcome to the starting lineup. Great to have you with us on an absolutely beautiful Thursday morning in the Ozarks. Ned Reynolds joined by
Scott Purrier. Starting
lineup brought to you by Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield in Fremont, Springfield. Swing Right Golf, which is located on South Campbell, a little bit north of Nixa. Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit. A couple of left turns, and you're on the north outer road at I-44, and that's where Marshfield Chevrolet is, and you can't miss it, folks. Great deals for you. And Citizens Bank of Rogersville, with one of the locales adjacent to Highland Springs and the other one in Rogersville itself. Beautiful day. Not, interestingly enough, not the severe weather that everybody, at least here, that everybody thought was going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm incident-free today. No broken computers, no $800 worth of car damage from hitting a cooler. Relatively incident-free today, but it's only 7:01, so we've got a full day to get through.
And we have 2 hours to mess up
2 hours to mess up this show, too. So we'll see if the week from hell continues.
Very quickly, in your research that you did you discover that traffic jam was the result of that?
It was apparently a wreck later.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, that was more, I come from Nixa, and, so I'm on 65 every morning, and this one was down. Mine was around Reliable Toyota, Sunshine and 65, and the other one, I think, was closer to the 60-65 interchange, but it had people backed up, including our boss, Brian. He said he was stuck in traffic yesterday, but no doubt somebody looking at their phone probably, and
what a surprise.
Exactly, yeah. But, the weather thing, and this will be part of our starting five, brought to you by Travis Bell Home Loans and Travis Bell USA Mortgage. Travis has been in the business for more than 25 years. He and his team will take care of you. You've got a new home picked out. Got to figure out how to pay for it. Time to call Travis and his team and get the best rates, the smoothest transaction, all through Travis Bell Home Loans and USA Mortgage. Call 417-818-5057 or visit travisbellhomeloans.com. Our lineup today, 7:30, we're going to continue our School Spotlight series with Ozark High School and Athletic Director Yancey Little, who is retiring at the end of the year. So it'll be kind of a chance to talk to Yancey about his favorite memories in a very long run there at Ozark, and so we'll talk to Yancey at 7:30. We'll catch up with Amy Eagan at 8 o'clock. Amy was the former Drury Lady Panthers coach back around 2020 in that era. Moved on and did a great job at Lindenwood, parlayed that into the new head coaching job at the University of New Mexico with the Lobos. And so we'll talk to Amy about her big move and how her transfer portal shopping is going and go from there. And then Eli Hoff, our correspondent with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch on all things Mizzou. Eli will be on with us at 8:30 as we'll talk about transfers for the Tigers, football draft next week, who the Tigers can hear their name called, and then we'll talk about baseball as well.
Isn't it interesting when you take a look at the metamorphosis of coaches, changes, and players and so forth? New Mexico, located in Albuquerque, the men's team and the women's team both will have at least historic ties to this area.
Yeah.
Alford with the men, and here's Amy Eagan with the ladies.
Yeah. Is it the Pit? Isn't that where they play?
The Pit.
Yeah.
The Pit.
Huge. Isn't it a huge?
Well, it was the site of one of the Final Four championships, but it was a long time. It was back in the 1980s. But, yeah, it's probably 15 to 20,000 somewhere.
Bummer of a night last night, as Ned mentioned, with the weather. The Missouri State Mizzou baseball game was canceled, will not be made up. It's a home and home each year, and with each team deep into their conference seasons right now and other games scheduled, just not something they can make up. And my understanding is, it did rain around 5:30, the start time, when we live, again, we're in Nixa, so we didn't know in Springfield, but I'm told it rained here.
It came down pretty good.
Yeah,
yes.
and so Mizzou was there in the afternoon. They had arrived, and again, they're on their way to Oklahoma to play the Sooners in a big SEC series this weekend. And just a mutual decision between the coaches that they didn't want to have a night where it might drag on for 4 or 5 hours, delays here and there. The forecast wasn't
I think
good.
It was more the severe weather threat.
Yeah, tornado watch. But, I mean, I don't put much stock into that because they throw those things up like
they do,
like it's Thursday, whatever day of the week it is. And, don't get me started on that, the whole weather thing, because I know you should. I mean, we we cry wolf so much now.
And when this whole episode started back in the early 1990s with the focus on it, it was brought about by consultants, folks. It's a long, long story, but fact of the matter remains, we who are not really involved in that say, people, you're crying wolf an awful lot. That's going to come back to haunt you. But nobody listens.
No, and I'll tell you this, and our awareness of that is obviously heightened by what happened in Joplin, a dozen years ago, and it is important. But anyway, Tornado Watch was issued. If you watch the radar, because I started watching it like I'm sure the Bears coaches were in the afternoon, it was just rain that was regenerating and developing coming up I-44 from Oklahoma. And some of it would develop into kind of, a cluster of rain and storms, but a lot of the other ones would just dissipate.
And that can happen when you're running into dry air, which has been here.
And so the decision was just made that, let's don't have a 4 or 5 hour night here where we're maybe starting and stopping. Let's don't put some guys out on the field where it's a slippery field and a potential for injury. Let's don't burn pitching today in a game that may not even have a final outcome, because, if they have to call it in the 5th or 6th inning, it's a lost day. And so both teams were able to save their pitchers. And my understanding is, and I feel bad for Missouri State promotions and Kirk and all the people that put effort into the folds of honor and first responders. The tailgate was moved to billiards. I understand that was still a popular setting. But my understanding also is they're trying to figure out just how to redo all of that, possibly the Jacksonville State weekend. And, that's going to be a huge one, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You would think it would be a natural for the Friday night, but that's the downtown Route 66 parade night. And so you've got so much going on traffic-wise and a parade route that I don't think the first is an option. But, if you could get Jacksonville State to agree to, instead of playing a 2 o'clock probably game, maybe move it back to 5:30 on Saturday evening, you could just recreate what could have happened last night.
Could, but where is the public attention going to be? And would it be on a charity like Folds of Honor, which is an outstanding charity? I would think they'd probably wait maybe when does Kansas State plays in here?
Yeah, it just doesn't have the sizzle on a Tuesday night with K-State. But, that Jacksonville State series will be the biggest home series of the year for them.
It is to us, and it is to the Bears, but I wonder how much it is to the public.
I just think if you do it on a Saturday night, you may have a better chance of recreating that, because that Saturday day, there's going to be 18,000 spring festivals and arts days and everything else going on. But anyway, we're just speculating. But bottom line is they just felt like it was, it could do more harm than good if they played last night. And so Mizzou is here. They're on their way to, obviously, probably last night down to Norman to play OU. And the Bears have Western Kentucky coming in for a series starting tomorrow evening. I believe it's 6:30 Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday.
And the Saturday game, folks, looks like the high temperature is going to be about 57, 58, somewhere in that vicinity. It'll be a cool day, but the sun will be out, and, hey, that's warm spring sun can – Perger, I wonder if you can remember this, too. We talk about the weather conditions and so forth and so on, how jumbled they can be. Now, your birthday is May 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember May 3rd about, I want to say 9, 10, 11 years ago? You and I were still together over at...
well, we haven't broken up. We're, when you be careful how you say that, because...
By together, I'm talking about on the radio.
Rumors out there in the public. And,
anyway, do you remember the birthday party we had for you?
Yeah.
It was on Battlefield at some
Skybox, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was Skybox because it had an upstairs to it.
Oh, Big Whiskey's maybe.
Maybe it was Big Whiskey.
Yeah, Big Whiskey's on Battlefield, yeah.
So this is May the 3rd, and I'm going to say maybe 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. I go in there, and, of course, I have a few libations and so forth. Walk out, and it's snowing.
On May 3rd?
May 3rd.
Are you sure you didn't have too many libations and you thought it was snowing?
That was the question I had to ask myself. My God, have I had that much? I got home. I lived down in Ozark at the time.
Yeah.
And the next morning, of course, it quickly dissipated and all that, but there was some snow on the grass and so forth and so on.
On May 3rd.
But the temperature, and this is Kentucky Derby Day,
yeah,
was, it was 55, 56 at the highest. It was very unpleasant.
And of course that's Ozarks weather. Just wait a little while and it'll change. And that was part of it last night too. I'm sure the decision. And again, the protocol in this is the decision is mostly the two head coaches. And they met. They were in communication the whole afternoon. Mizzou was here. And just decided, hey, let's save our pitching. Let's don't get somebody hurt. Let's don't be here for 6 hours potentially. And then for Missouri State's promotions and Kirk and everybody, let's figure out another day to do this. So that's kind of the update on that. Baseball-wise as well, Cardinals beat the Guardians 5-3. They are now 10-8 on the season, St. Louis is. They take 2 out of 3 from Cleveland off today, and then they head down to Houston to take on the Astros for the weekend. Houston finishing up a series with the Rockies tonight. Jordan Walker extends his hitting streak to 11 games. No home runs, but does have a hit to keep that going. Dustin May was solid on the mound. 1 run on 6 hits and 4 Ks in his 6 innings. Riley O'Brien seems to be the closer now, 5th save and a perfect 9. So roles are kind of coming together and fitting in place. And the Cardinals push across runs in the 8th. J.J. Weatherholt with a sack fly, and then Alec Burleson with a 2-run
had a couple of home runs.
That was the day before.
Well, I'm sorry. It was the day before, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so Cardinals get 3 in the 8th to get the win 4-1. Good weekend, or good series for them up at Busch. And now you go down and play the Astros, who literally have just been obliterated with their pitching staff with injuries and trades, and it'll be guys you've not heard of pitching this week.
Well, it's difficult when you've had a dynasty the way they had. They were always winning their division and getting into the playoffs and so forth, to keep that in existence, because you do have some favorite players, Altuve and people of that caliber. George Springer was on that. They're really good teams, but it doesn't last. You've got to be sure you keep the new blood flowing, but you also have to have the money to do that, like the Dodgers do. My goodness sake, the Dodgers are 14-4 on the year and show no signs of letting up.
Yeah, and the Astros, they brought Carlos Correa back. He was one of the guys that was on that, their good teams back in, 2015, 16,
I think 17. It was a little bit before then, like 2013, because Correa made his 2013 debut, I think it was, here at Hammons Field, and 2 weeks later he's with the Astros.
So the Astros and Cardinals this weekend. Cardinals off today. The Royals, I feel like this is on a save-get key or a copy and paste. The Royals fall to the Tigers 2-1, which is so Royals this year. They just can't score. Their top 4 in the order were combined 1 for 15. That's Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny P., and Salvi, who are all all-stars in their own right. 1 for 15 last night. They're just not getting anything offensively. They lose to the Tigers 2-1. Jack Flaherty with a good outing for Detroit on the mound. They wasted a good effort from Seth Lugo. The Royals did. He struck out 7.
Well, they're getting good pitching.
Yeah, and they're getting it top to bottom. Their rotation's solid. It's just they're not getting any offense. They did get 3 hits from Jack Caglione, including a triple, but he's still here on April 16th. No homers, no RBIs on the season, and we're halfway, 3 weeks in now, roughly?
About that, yeah.
Closing in on 3 weeks. So the Royals will try to get it figured out today, 12-10 start, trying to avoid the sweep. They'll send Chris Bubich to the mound because everybody needs a little Bubich in their lives, and he is against, is it Keider or Keeter? Montero for the Tigers.
I think it's Kiger, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Keider. It's got to be a rookie. But he's on the mound for Detroit. Then the Royals go on to New York to play the Yankees this weekend. I was watching I've got the baseball package, and before I went to bed, watching the end of the Yankees and the Angels last night. And the Yankees are down in the 9th, and I think there may have been no outs or 1 out. Routine pop-up on the infield. Zach Neto and Perdomo for the Angels come together, and they literally just look at each other, and the ball just drops right between them.
Yours.
Yeah, hits the dirt of the infield. And Jazz Chisholm, I think, hit it. He's on. Then a couple hits later, the Yankees have the walk-off. And that's, you get them going, they'll be kind of like the Dodgers. They've got the lineup to do it offensively, and the pitching. They're kind of patching things together now while they got some guys hurt. But
what are they 10-8 now?
I think so. Yeah, and Garrett Cole's going to be back at some point this year, and they've got some other guys that are down right now for them. But so Yankees and Royals this weekend. By the way, the Tigers give 21-year-old Kevin McGonigal an 8-year, $150 million deal. And this is the new trend in baseball now. You know, we saw the Pirates do it with Connor Griffin. Lock these guys up for a less amount, you know, but give them the financial security of knowing that, hey, I'm making $150 million a year for the next 7 or 8 years.
So when free agency approaches, they're already locked up and nothing can happen. It's really an interesting little move on their part. At first, when they brought that in and started signing these guys, I thought, well, this is some kind of a hedge against the contract not going through or some kind of work stoppies. That has nothing to do with it. It's a guard against players being poached upon free agency.
That and it's, you know, if you're the Pirates and if you're the Tigers and you're not necessarily big spenders, spend $140, $150 million for a guy that in 5 years would be worth $300 or $400 million, and you've got a discount and you've got him for 7 or 8 years. And for the player, it's that security, financial security, and knowing that, hey, I'm getting paid. I don't have to have the pressure going up and trying to play for a contract. I've got a contract, so. And McGonigal's one of there's a lot of good young guys in the league right now, and he's right up there with Griffin and some others in terms of the top prospects. J.J. Weatherholt's another one. I wonder if the Cardinals will look at that anytime soon.
They would be very wise to do so, yes.
Because, I mean, he's kind of proven to be the real deal here so far early on. Well, and we've joked about it, but apparently Ned really has killed the Springfield Cardinals and their will to live, let alone win.
7 straight losses.
Yeah, the announcement, you know, when they found out in the locker room probably early last week that Ned was stepping down, that's when the troubles began. And now, you know, Ned did his last game Saturday night, and they have not won since the first game.
That's Tuesday. Exactly right. It was a week ago last night that they won. They lost.
Tuesday, yeah.
And 7 straight losses since then. And just to clarify things, Puryear is joking, folks.
No, I'm actually serious. You did kill the Cardinals.
Get out of here, will you? Good
Dan Ryder texted me and said, I don't want anything to do with your show as long as Ned is in there. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, 4-7 now. They won the first 4. They've lost the last 7. Last night was a 5-3 decision. It was the screaming and yelling kids version over in Wichita at 11 a.m. start.
I think what's most disturbing about that, you're going to go through slumps like that and winning streaks as well, but it's the pitching. Liam Doyle, not very good the other night. This is Cincha, who was on the hill yesterday. He gave up 3 of the 4 home runs that Wichita's hit. You can't have that. It's not going to win for you.
Miguel, is it Ugueto?
Ugueto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had 4 hits for the Cardinals yesterday morning, so they'll continue that series tonight in Wichita and continue on through the weekend. Then they're back home next Tuesday with Midland coming in for a 6-game set. Congratulations to lots of high school kids that signed letters of intent yesterday. It was officially the opening of the spring signing period. Lots of volleyball kids and other sports, fishing, track and field, baseball, a little bit of everything. So congratulations to all of those.
Do they give scholarships for fishing?
They do, yeah. Most schools now, and by scholarship, it's more financial aid. You know, they'll throw $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for them to cover part of their tuition, or you know, not actually. There's no full rides in fishing. that I know of, but. You know, and a lot of the schools, Drury's one of them, you know, which yesterday, by the way, we had another 40 or so people at the Ozarks Old Timers
and
luncheon.
Some newcomers, and that was very refreshing.
It was cool to see, you know, Nyla Millicent and Barb from Drury came over. Sue Schubel was there.
Rick Grayson
came in, yeah, so it was kind of neat. And again, the next one, and I misspoke yesterday, it's not every other week, it's the first and third Wednesdays. And in May, we'll start just doing once a month for the summer. And so we'll have one on May 6th will be the next one. But Coach Stratton did a nice job as the featured speaker.
Got an idea.
Yeah.
If it's May 6th, that's 3 days after the Derby. How about if we parade in Renegade, if Renegade wins the thing?
I don't know if Golden Corral will allow horses.
It's a corral, is it not?
It is. That is true. We could or maybe Robert Lowe comes in and brings in the trophy and the big rose thing or whatever they bring in, and stuff. But anyway, May 6th will be the next one there. Got some more stuff to get to, but let's take a timeout and come back and get to that.
You're listening to the starting lineup, and we'll return in a second.
You're listening to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.